As simple as a button, or I can't do it. Okay, we are live, and I am going to be talking to Scott Sackett tonight, which we didn't do Wednesday, huh? So,
We did not. Well, no, we never talk on Wednesday. We
oh
didn't
yeah,
talk
well,
on
yeah,
Thursday. See,
that's
that's
right.
so.
I
So
thought it was
last week,
Wednesday.
yeah. Well, that's what happened, and I didn't email it. Normally, I when I get up in the morning, I will email Ellis and say, because I know Ellis, being a retired young man, does
Hmm.
not follow the days as close as I do, the day of the week. I've caught him off guard before. So generally, the day of, I will email him say, "Hey, are we live streaming tonight?" Even though we do it every night or every Thursday,
Yeah,
because sometimes we don't. And
yeah,
but I mean, and so I emailed or I didn't email because I got busy and I thought, well, I didn't get a chance in the morning. And this is my busy season at work, so I work just not tons overtime, but I
hmm
never work overtime. And worked like 5 hours overtime last week. When I clocked out last Thursday, I had overtime, which is never
hmm
happens. And so I didn't get it. I was scrambling around to get ready for work, which is normally when I would email you, first thing in the morning before I
yeah.
leave the house. Didn't have a chance. Thought I'll do it at lunchtime, and something came up at lunchtime, and I wasn't. Normally, I sit in my car and I'll draw or read. That's a cool picture, by the way, Ellis. That's
Yeah,
awesome
I'm
looking.
doing this. This was a old Inktober, and I've transferred it to a piece of masonite. And I'm going to be very methodical about this particular painting. I'm going to have all kinds of underpainting steps to it. Yeah, go ahead and. Yeah, were you done with your story?
Wow, that's really nice. No, no,
Well,
no.
thanks.
Anyway, so I'm never done with my story. Ask my employees.
Yeah,
Anyway,
your
so
story is
I didn't email
ongoing.
you at
Yeah,
lunchtime.
yeah,
My story is ongoing.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, and so I didn't get a chance to. I forget what happened. Oh, I know what happened. I had an employee that was retiring, and we got him a card because I was
Everybody had
like,
to
should we get
sign
him a
it.
card? And so I got him a card. I've never had an employee retire before. Everybody to sign it. Well, then my wife says, so I got it Wednesday at lunchtime, and so everybody had to sign it. Well, I got a bunch of people to sign it. Spent way too much time running around getting people to sign it,
Yeah, yeah. That's a big waste of time.
and yeah. Well, no, no, no. He
Everybody's got to sit
appreciated
there
it,
and
but
be a. It's got to be
anyway,
sit there and be an artist about what should I say?
what do I
Oh,
write?
yeah, yeah, yeah. All that.
Yeah, yeah, whatever. They can do that.
Yeah,
I mean, he
yeah,
only retires once, right?
yeah. That's right.
Anyway,
That's right. It is a big event. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I
at
keep.
lunchtime I went and got a card for Brad, and he's retiring, and she goes, "Well, did you get him a gift card?"
Oh,
And I go, "Well, no, I didn't give him a gift card." And so I went. So that's what happened. Is at lunch I went and got him a gift card at a place. I had lunch at a barbecue place. I won't name because they're not a sponsor, and got him a gift card.
what was it? Was
But
it close to
and
the
then
Cowboy?
people were like,
Was it close to the Cowboy Hall of
"No,
Fame?
no, no, no.
Oh,
It
it wasn't
was it
that
was
one.
close. No, it's close to it's close to my work.
And of course, it's not called the
We've
Cowboy Hall of
never ate
Fame either.
there.
Okay.
No, no, no. Well, it's national. It's the Natural Western Heritage Museum and Cowboy Hall of Fame.
Okay. Oh, good.
Cowboy Hall of Fame is in the name. But anyway, yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyway, I think they've realized they can't expunge it at this point.
Yeah,
You know.
good
Anyway,
for me.
so I had to. Yeah, well, yeah. Why fight it, right?
Yeah, why fight it? That's right.
And anyway, so I did that at lunchtime, and I could have emailed you while I was eating, but I forgot.
Hmm.
Well, I didn't forget. I forgot. I mean, and then
Yeah.
I'm like, oh crap. And I think I may have emailed you like at 7. You said, oh, when you emailed me, I thought today was Wednesday or something. Somehow you thought it was Wednesday, or you didn't
I
realize.
thought it was
So
Wednesday
you
all
and
day
you
long.
reached out. Well, here's the other half of this is
I was almost shocked when you asked me. I was like,
I,
"What? What the hell day is
well,
this?"
yeah. You need it. My
Because
watch has a
I
date
forget.
on it. That's what you need.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Well, I've got
Do
the.
you
I've got.
wear a
I'm
watch?
surrounded by electronics. I can look up anywhere and see what day it is. Just like
Yeah.
daylight savings time, which is how did you cope with it? Did you
Yeah. Did you
have
know
any
about
trouble
that?
with it? Oh yeah, I knew about that after the fact.
No.
No, that's another one. It was after the fact, and I realized everybody else was keeping different time than me. The computer was all of a sudden cattywampus, and I've got a clock that
Yeah.
does its own updating of itself, but it was
Oh yeah.
wacky. It got it right the first time, and then all of a sudden it uh, corrected it back and went a little crazy, and then finally got around to correcting itself again. But it took hours. That's what, yeah, and I
Oh
hate
really?
this clock. I hate to mess with it because its battery falls out real easy. So it's like fix
Hmm.
yourself. Physician,
I
heal
have that problem.
thyself. Oh, you do with a clock that should switch
Well, my
itself.
watch will do the atomic time, and so it'll eventually fix itself.
Uh huh. Yeah. What's going on there? Why do they act like it's
Ellis, your audio's dropping at your audio's Ellis, your audio's dropping out.
It is. I wonder what's wrong with it. I wonder if it's just dropping out for you though.
Ellis, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Your audio's dropping out big time.
Well, okay. I'm going to see if it's on YouTube.
Do you have hit?
Let me check
Okay,
YouTube.
that's
Da, da,
probably
da,
the best.
da. I can hear
That's
you.
probably the best thing to do. Now it doesn't seem to be
Under.
doing it quite so bad.
Okay, well, okay. Well, maybe it's just trend
Okay, we'll
lines.
carry on.
Yeah.
I'll give you a signal. If I do this, the audio's dropping out.
Okay. Uh,
Okay.
okay.
Anyway, so uh, you talked about the daylight savings time. I used to work with a girl that years ago when the time changed, she'd come in like 2.5 hours late. She'd show up at 9:30 or 2 hours late. Show up at 9:30, and everybody would go, "What? Why are you late?" And she goes, "Well, the time changed."
Mm-hmm.
And we'd be like, "Well, why are you 2 hours late?" Or it would go the other way, and it'd be like, "You should have been early." And she'd be like, "I don't know what I did, but my clock and I overslept." It's just
Yeah.
like, and she was just the kind of person that, I mean, she had the characteristics of somebody that you would think just want to laze around in bed all day anyway.
Yeah.
She was just kind of slovenly. I mean, people
Yeah.
like that.
I know people like that. Uh, I like that character in that. What's that band's name? The guy with the big oversized suit. Uh,
Oh, Talking Heads.
Talking Heads. What's the name of their movie where that one
Stop
woman
making
was a
sense.
stop
Oh,
making
wait.
sense? No, yeah,
Stop
yeah,
Making Sense is the concert documentary. Is
yeah.
there
Which
something
is
else?
great. It's a great concert
Oh,
film. It's probably the
True
best.
Stories.
Yeah, True
Oh, it's really
Stories.
good. I watched it not long ago.
Yeah,
I've never
it's
seen True Stories.
oh, you've never seen True Stories? Oh, it's charming. It's really charming. You dig it.
I should watch it.
Yep.
I will try and seek it out.
If you can imagine John Goodman as a pop star up there on stage, singing
I
about
cannot, but that's okay.
the song is "People Like Us."
Oh
Boy,
yeah.
I tell you what, he rips it up. It's a great song.
Well, John Goodman has some
He's
skills.
he's a talent.
He really is. When we went to New Orleans, we did a tour of the Garden District, which is one of the old neighborhoods and, very expensive. And we went by his house, and the tour guide just raved about what a great person he was and how
Hmm.
occasionally he'll come out and talk to the tours and all this kind of stuff.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And then Nicolas Cage, he ripped.
Yeah,
That would be cool
yeah.
if John Goodman came out. Yeah, they didn't
You know,
like Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas
Though.
Cage is just like dropping in on one of his many properties that he went broke buying. You know,
Yeah,
he's not as
yeah.
attached to anything. He's like he went a little crazy with the idea of millionaire status. And
Well, I
I
mean,
get, I don't know if he's recovered from it or not. I think, you know, obviously what gets you first is like the IRS tells you, you know, not even half of that was yours. And
yeah. By the
then,
way, no
yeah,
one has paid taxes on any of this,
yeah.
and not only do you owe taxes, but you owe a lot of taxes. We've done our taxes, by the way. In fact, we got our state back. We've got our federal back.
That is the main tyranny that I no longer have to cope with. I don't even have to file.
Oh, you don't?
Uh-uh.
Oh,
No.
oh, that would be beautiful.
Yeah, it is
Because
beautiful.
we have to pay quarterly. Talk about tyranny.
Yeah.
I mean, we send them big checks every quarter, which, you know, you could argue, well, it's because you make big money, but they take a huge chunk of my money.
Yeah, oh, man, yeah.
For not doing a thing but be a pain in my neck, you know.
Wim says John Goodman can swing.
Yes.
Sing, I mean.
Oh, sing.
Yeah,
I think he can swing too.
He can swing too. Boy, I tell you what, that song is just it's a showstopper. Whenever I get the itch to watch that movie again, it's always because I know it will work up to that big number John Goodman will sing.
I'm gonna move my camera just a little bit. Excuse me, fellas.
Kadogi.
I am tomorrow. I've decided. So last Friday we didn't talk on Thursday. So last Friday it was real icy that day, or fairly in the morning. It was very icy, and so my wife and I rode together. Now, for our listeners, my wife works downtown here in Oklahoma City, and so I got off work and I hung out downtown, and I walked
And
I drank coffee and drank coffee and walked. But you know, I got a pretty good little workout in. I got a lot of drawing done. I had a good time. I told my wife.
Do you think you got more than the 6? You think you got more than the 6 miles we got in on that day? Because we got in 6 miles.
I bet I got close, man.
Yeah.
I walked a lot. And anyway, so I've decided that now that the weather's getting nicer, of course, it's supposed to rain tomorrow. That's what I'm going to do on Fridays when I get off from work. I'm going to go downtown and walk around and get my exercise in. And then instead of just going home and sitting on the couch and drawing, I'm going to go downtown and draw.
Watching movies.
I'm going to do it this week. I can't do it. Yeah, watching movies, having a good time. But yeah, I've decided that's what I'm going to start doing as a general default on Fridays.
I tell you what, if you make it, that's what a guy's got to do is make himself a little rule. Once you've accomplished said rule, that's all of a sudden it's a system, and you get something out of those things versus a goal or anything like that.
Yep.
Come up with a rule for yourself. Say, you know, I recently posted something that I've had around. You know, actually it comes from this when I inked all these pieces of bat art for Inktober, and you know, all of a sudden I had 31 pieces of original kind of cool art that wouldn't have been otherwise done. And I realized I did the math for just doing one panel a day. If that was your workout and your goal or your system, if you just did one panel a day, you'd have a comic book, you know, just a glorious comic book at the end of the year, you know, that you could put out.
You know, it's funny you say that. I'm gonna walk into the room. I still have my headphones on. I'm gonna grab something that I'll show you.
Am I still bugging you?
It's funny you say that.
Bugging you as far as sound? Okay.
Oh, no. You know what? It went away. I just had to air it out into the universe that there was a problem and it got solved.
I thought it was your fault. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. You would.
Yeah. I instantly said, "Oh, that's Scott. Something wrong with Scott."
It's got to be on Scott's end.
Yeah.
So So this is, so I've been flipping through this lately. This is the
Oh
Essential
yeah,
Spider-Man
let me get rid of
Volume
Wim.
3.
Wait a second. Let me get rid of Wim's note that the north side of I-40 has a grass fire between mile markers 175 and 176. So there's
Oh
some
yeah, the
report
whole city
report.
smelled like smoke today.
Oh really? Hmm.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's bad. My work, I went out. I had to go to our headquarters. And I walked outside. And I was like, "Good grief! I thought my
I
car
guess,
was on fire."
I
But
guess it's not been droughty. You couldn't hope for anything better
I
than
don't know. It is.
snow melt. Okay, okay. Yeah,
Oklahoma's always droughty.
yeah,
Oklahoma's on the edge of the desert. If we're not just drenched in rain, we're in drought.
that's true,
It's
isn't it?
sad.
Yeah,
It's
go ahead. Go
sad but
ahead. I'm
true.
sorry I interrupted the Spider-Man. Go ahead.
Okay, I've been looking at this. This is issues 48 and 44 through 68 by John Romita. So this is John Romita's on the book.
Mm-hmm.
And let me find a good example. Now, of course, now I can't. Oh, this is a good example right here. Of course, it's a full page splash.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is a good example. See how it's got Spider-Man. He's got some background.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some fairly detailed background.
Hell, they must have complained about all that cross hatching. They said, this is going to turn to mud, Ramita. Oh, well, whoever inked it. Who inked it?
Romita. This is probably Don Heck, I think. He did most of these.
Okay.
But for like this is a great example. Look at that background in that panel there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's simple. Simple
it's
with
a small panel, but it's detailed.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so, and I fill my sketchbook with figures that I draw. Look at this, man. The office, file cabinets. And I fill my sketchbook with figures, and I've decided instead of doing that, as I'm drawing these two figures here, I'm going to draw, instead of drawing just a figure standing there, even in like an action pose, I'm going to put them in a background.
Yeah, I mean, you're really good at environments. You like to draw environments when you get out and about, and that's quite a talent.
So
I mean, people as a general rule just like to draw good people. Go ahead. Yeah.
Right. Well, I can't find the one. There's one in here where he's fighting Kingpin. That's what I was looking for. Oh, there's Kingpin. Okay, it's early. Anyway, here we go. This is it in the clutch. So I was looking at this. I mean, look at this background behind here. And this is just Kingpin's office.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was one in particular. Oh, this is the one. Look at this panel. So these guys burst in. You can see this bar behind whoever this guy is. Mm-hmm. There's a bar, and there's the Kingpin. And it reminded me, one of my the first time I ever went to San Diego Comic-Con, I drew a Spider-Man sample, and he was fighting the Kingpin. And it was Spider-Man breaks through this window, and they fight in Kingpin's penthouse. And I was looking at that last night. I was thinking, good grief. Compared to that, I had no background in my stupid Kingpin story. It's like, no wonder they didn't hire me from that. I mean, there are other reasons, don't get me wrong, but it's just like, okay, this is something in my sketchbook I'm going to start working on. I'm going to draw figures, but I'm going to put them in a background.
You might want to get onto Heritage Auctions right now. They've got another big auction, I guess, grouping coming up. I got a bunch of Kirby, but I noticed that they had some Byrne and others. And
really?
I always like those high res.
They always put those. Yeah, they always put those big high res scans on there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
and that way it gets you close to. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's a good Thor. Put it up close to the lens on that Thor. Let me see that. But you got the twist going. That's what you got to do if you want some interest. Get a little twist in it.
You remember 2 weeks ago, I started this drawing, and you were kind of complaining about my Thor. Well, we were talking about it, and I pulled out what did I pull out? Something with. Oh, you know what? I pulled out that Fantastic Four essential and I stole from Rich Buckler, and this pose is kind of stole from a Invisible Girl pose.
Mm-hmm.
Just the
Oh yeah,
way that her.
still like Wally Wood says, steal, 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 or whatever he said. He said something different. He said, swipe it, trace it, whatever. He had three
Well,
things that he said, but
yeah, he said
basically he was just
why
telling you don't invent. I mean, that takes too long. Sit there and
why
find some
why
reference.
why draw what you can swipe? Why swipe what you can trace?
That's
And then
right.
why trace what you can Xerox?
Steal
I don't know
or
what the
something. Yeah, yeah.
Steal. Yeah. What's today's date, Ellis? Why am I asking you? You don't know.
Sure, I
I
do.
need to.
It
I got.
is. I can click something real quick and tell you it's the 17th of March.
Okay.
It is
Did you see my
Did
Did I ever show you my
St.
calendar?
Patty's Day. So
Oh, that's my sister's birthday.
if you've got any
Did you see my
Irish in you,
calendar?
let's see it. Wow, a 16-month 2022 calendar. So 2022 is going to
Yeah.
be jam-packed with months.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It will, yes. Well, the 2021 portion of this was this. It was one page. But
Okay.
it's like old school Marvel though. It dude is like $10 at Walmart.
What did I
Can't
just
beat
spend
that.
$20 for? I didn't need to spend $20 for. I forget.
Probably a movie. A movie
yeah.
if I had to bet. Uh
Oh, I know what it was.
anyway,
Someone had what's that mermaid? Oh, the Little Mermaid. They had a kids set of chairs and a table. And
yeah.
I realized I could, at a glance at this garage sale, I said, those chairs are sturdy enough to be step ups. And she wanted 20 for them. And just because I had that notion that they would be like the step up that I like so much around the house, I let go of $20 for that. And, they work all right. But I thought to myself, now I've got 3 little chair step ups and I needed one.
I'm gonna tell you about something else. Something I purchased that was a little more than $20, 25, I think.
Okay.
Now, I have told you about Marvel Comics in the 60s and 70s. It's by this guy Perry Comptomus Comptus.
Is that?
And
I think that's Greek. I think that's Greek.
I
Maybe.
don't know. But this is a great. These three. There's 3 of them. 60s, 70s, and 80s. I just got the 80s in the mail the other day, and this is. I think you would like this. I mean, and they're it's like almost $30 a piece. So I'm not recommending you spend $90 on these,
No,
but
I can't.
yeah, well, but it's if anyone is well heeled and I tell you what I like about them. It tracks what I would call the fall of Marvel Comics. It's like this is what they started doing, and it
This
goes
is what it
into
evolved to. Yeah.
well, and it talks a lot about political correctness in society and how that affected culture and pop culture, and it talks about like what the so it talks about what was going on in society in addition to what was going on in Marvel Comics, and it talks about and it's just cool because it's obvious the guy that wrote it he considers peak Marvel like 1960s, and pretty much everything after that kind of a decline.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I completely well
He's
do
with
what?
all those old guys. He's with the Woods and the Kirby's.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And he talks a lot, but like I had to read you this one. I read this today. Let's see if I can find it. Because it's got a lot of pictures and it's got a lot of little things talking about different creators and stuff. It's cool. What's cool is there are more pictures of like editors and stuff I've never seen pictures of before.
that's cool. I mean,
It is.
I wonder, does it say where he got them all? Who he attributes them
No.
to?
No.
Because that's quite a
No.
task to try to figure out where all those photos come from on some of this stuff.
Absolutely.
Like I realized that that Corben, when I did my little thing on Corben's color, that the guy didn't like himself on camera that much, and really didn't take a lot of little photo ops of himself. There wasn't just a lot to pick from. I think he kind of dug himself as later as he got older. It's like there's a lot of shots of him with he was kind of digging the old turkey neck and the weathered look. I think. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I think that's a way. I think that's a way that guys that look kind of like me and Corben, kind of round faced, not particularly differentiated by character carve ups, that we kind of dig the wasting effects. The wasting
little
effects.
age on you.
Yeah, wasting effects of age.
Little entropy on the frame.
Yeah, exactly. It just makes
Okay,
it a little more interesting. Go ahead.
Okay, I want to read you a little bit. This will give you a flair for how this guy talks. He's talking about. Do you remember the magazine Epic Illustrated?
Oh yeah.
It was the Marvel Comics attempt to make a heavy metal.
Yeah, and it had Archie Goodwin at the helm for a while, right?
Had Archie Goodwin at the helm. Yep. Okay, and it talks about how I'm not going to read this first part, but it talks about how it ended up being mainstream Marvel creators trying to break out of the mainstream, independent creators looking to move up to more prestigious venues, and an oddball assortment of underground artists and other outsiders recruited to lend the magazine an air of edginess. Okay, this is the part I wanted to read.
That's true. It never, when you're trying to when you are so directly mainstream,
yeah,
it's hard to break out of that. You are you're doing whatever the mainstream part of the main thing is doing, as well as your supposedly spin-off.
Okay, so this is the paragraph I wanted to read. The combination of material, presumably geared to more mature taste, worked for a while, but by the mid-'80s, the world of comics was already beginning to devolve towards the dark ages, when comics would backslide from the hope and promise inspired by Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns, Alan Moore's Watchmen, and even Art Spiegelman's Mouse, to the mindless juvenilia of Todd McFarlane's Spawn, Jim Lee's Wildcats, and Rob Liefeld's Youngblood, to name a few.
Oh yeah. I tell you what, there's a lot of people hate that Spawn, aren't there? I knew a guy that had to work on the game for it. He hated that. Once he realized what the material was going to be, it's like, oh man, he just basically, he wasn't there very long. He just said, I can't do this.
Here's what I would argue. I say this, and I've said this about sports. I know you're not a sports guy, or I don't think you are. Money ruins it. Money ruins everything. And the argument I use now is in college football. I'm a big college football fan, but they've allowed athletes to get money off of their name, to market their name, basically.
Sponsorships.
And the schools can do this for them. And so the schools are basically paying them now. Mm-hmm. And boosters are, and that's bad, but what they've made it worse is they've allowed players, and I don't know the exact rules, but they can switch schools like midstream. And so all of a sudden, a guy that is one team, another team come along and say, "Oh, we'll pay you more money."
Oh, so you have to keep them greased. Yeah, that's weird.
Exactly. But I think college sports have gone down the toilet for a long time, or at least college football has. But anyway, and I maintain that comics went down the same route. And and part of it was in the 90s. And I like the 90s. I like a lot of the 90s stuff. Mm-hmm. But what happened is the money guys started making a lot of money.
Yeah.
It started attracting people to the industry that didn't want to do it for the love of the craft, the love of the medium.
It's like that 1 year burst in that Comicsgate group. They had they had those couple of guys that made a lot of money, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh man, got to get on board that. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, maybe you don't belong there, but go ahead, get on board. And then, of course, it just turns into the usual mediocre take on these
Yeah.
crowd funds.
Well, and I think that with comics, I mean, and I would argue even like animation kind of went through this, where it was kind of a, it became, I don't know, people didn't make the kind of money that some of the comic creators made, but it kind of became seen as like a big thing to do, and now supposedly it's just like terrible to work in animation for what I hear, but I don't know.
William likes Spawn over Watchmen any day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I don't agree with exactly what that guy said, but I do think that in the 90s, some of that. What I think. Here's what I think happened. If you'll know what I think. I think Marvel lost all of it became a very art-driven industry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which isn't necessarily bad, except for to the detriment of story. And what happened is all of Marvel's hot artists, or a big chunk of them, left. I mean, Marvel's stock dropped when Image left. And so I think the people at Marvel, the powers that be, and I don't mean I'm talking about the people way up in the company, said, we're never going to get ourselves in that position again. Right. And I think that's why they do some of the things they do now. For example, going overseas for a lot of talent. If you have a creator that's in another country and maybe they don't speak English, they're not going to become this big cult of personality like a Jim Lee or a Rob Liefeld. And I think the industry suffers for it a little bit, because I think that the industry's always grown or at least mainstream, let's put it that way, when there was a fan base, mm-hmm. and the characters are one thing, but when people get revved up about a creator, that's where they really,
mm-hmm.
in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
But, anyway.
Oh yeah. I mean,
your mileage may vary.
A team gets on something like your beloved X-Men. That was a Claremont Byrne show until I guess Byrne at one point just completely took it over, right, or not?
Well, what happened is he was plotting it, and he was good friends with the editor. So anytime there was a discussion about who did what, or who, kind of should we do this or this, it fell to Byrne, because the editor was a friend of his, mm-hmm. and had been for years. And so, and Byrne has even said, any dispute between me and the writer went my way. Well, mm-hmm. He would, it was kind of done. It was kind of done. It wasn't done Marvel method, but it was. It may have been done Marvel method. Anyway, Byrne was not working from a full script. Claremont would write the script after Byrne had drawn it, and so he mm-hmm. would go in and add the dialogue. And Byrne felt like his dialogue was contradicting what was going on in the panels.
Right. Yeah. That and you see that. That can create some funny effects. Yeah.
There's a famous example, and I won't pull. I got it right there on the shelf. I won't pull it the essential, but where Colossus is pulling out this stump. And if you look at it, you don't read the thing, it's fairly effortlessly pulling out this stump. Well, the word balloon is like, my chest will burst, I've got to do this, I got to do, it's written, and Byrne drew it to show how powerful Colossus was, because he felt Colossus had been kind of overlooked. Mm-hmm. And so he's having him just rip out these tree stumps effortlessly, and here Claremont, and supposedly that was like the last straw, but they had been button heads up until then. Yeah,
that reminds me. I've got a Gary Larson Far Side anthology where Larson had a couple of occasions where the newspaper would screw up the caption that belonged on his comic art, and he had a couple of examples of like an alien. It was supposed to say something that was almost like 2 sentences worth, and instead it said "we."
Yeah.
and And Larson, he liked it better than his caption. You know.
Yeah, they messed up they switched out the captions for a little. Yeah, I've seen that. I think I have that book.
Yeah.
I like The Far Side a lot.
Oh,
Um,
God, Larson's a damn genius. I think he's at a level that you could anybody that's ever set pen to paper, he is just up there with him. I think he's as a writer with his comedic notions.
oh, absolutely. My friend Kevin, Dave and I had a friend Kevin. He passed away a few years ago, but I went to high school with him, and he was a huge Far Side fan. Yeah, he
Uh,
was one of the first people I know that was like, "You've got to read this."
oh
We
man,
we we in that period of time, we lived in a golden age, or at least a modern golden age of comic strips.
yeah.
When you
Well,
figure within short order, we had that, we had Farside, we had Bloom County, and we had Calvin and Hobbes.
mm-hmm,
And I
mm-hmm.
think they all three ran in the Oklahoman for a while. Um, and Calvin and Hobbes, and heck, Peanuts was still running.
Oh yeah. I mean,
You
and
know.
Peanuts was always great. I had a couple anthologies of those too. Back when
Oh yeah.
the kids were kind of like weirdly cuter, actually, back in the
Yeah.
early days.
First couple of years they were drawn different.
Yeah.
They've gone back and recollected all those, and there's an Art of Charles Schulz book that's the same size. It's that landscape size,
Hmm.
and I have that, and I have that first Peanuts book, and yeah, I like how they're little before he kind of modernized them,
Hmm.
for sure. But man, when I was a kid, I was a huge Peanuts fan.
Oh
I think
yeah.
all kids with any sense at least.
Yeah.
But
Well,
man,
and
we had
again,
a
it's great writing, great.
oh yeah.
The formula for those three-panel gags. It's like set it up and then pay it off, and he
God,
was a
can you imagine
master of it.
having to do a comic strip?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
I
those
mean,
those guys are under the gun at all times. I'm watching. I regularly watch. Even it's a mixed bag sometimes with him, but I watch Scott Adams, who does Dilbert. He's still
oh yeah.
he still has to do his work.
Is he doing
Even
Dilbert still?
oh yeah, and they're funny.
Oh, I
He,
didn't
he's
realize. Oh
he's
my
he's
gosh,
he's a great
I didn't
writer.
realize that.
Oh yeah, well that's the deal. The art form, and he knows it. He's spreading out into books, etc. Because basically his it's gone away. The model of newspaper syndicate. That's
Yeah.
you would not say that's my ambition. I want to be syndicated by a newspaper. No,
No. Yeah. Yeah.
newspapers are
There's no.
dead. Yeah, yeah. You don't
Oh yeah.
go.
We
You don't go
find
towards
we have
death.
we get the digital copy, but that's about it around here.
Hmm.
Michelle got it for a long time, and she reads it every day. But I mean, man, the the physical paper costs so much now. I mean, it's crazy. And I mean, I forget. I mean, you're paying like $2 a day for it or something like that, and you
Wow.
get it, and you're like, man, it is 16 pages or something crazy. It's like, holy cow, man,
Yep.
you know. And so she gets the digital one, and we'd leave for work, and they wouldn't have thrown it yet, and she'd be like,
Hmm.
if I have to read it online anyway, and she never reads it late. She reads it,
Yeah.
but.
She wants to get her local news
It, yeah.
that
Well,
day.
again, I mean, I hate to sound like, oh, the old man yelling at clouds, but man, I mean, when you think about, like, I don't know, things have gone down the crapper.
Yeah. Oh
That's
yeah.
all I can say. I
Well,
mean,
yeah.
good grief. We barely have a newspaper in this city. You know, it's like, how can
In
that
our
be?
that guy we both know, Matt. He had a job for years and years,
Yeah,
and he had
working for the paper.
yeah, those jobs go away sometimes, and they don't come back. You know.
Well, it's I don't know. I
But
mean,
at the same time, if you get on board something else like that Comicsgate thing I mentioned, it's like if you're on board something that's hot, like right now, the thing to do for a guy that writes for a living and has opinions, of course, would be to have a locals account, a locals channel, to where you're basically getting $5 from 1,000 people a month. That's all of a sudden it's like, hey, who needs a employer? You know, I did
yeah. I mean,
this. This is my favorite job of all times.
yeah.
Right?
I get. I don't. I just. I don't know. I don't know. I'm old.
Well, of course,
To
it helps
me.
to arrive with a little bit of steam so that you get a base pretty quick. But you could build
Oh
one. I
yeah.
mean,
You go.
word
Yeah.
of mouth happens. There's this guy that could be said to be a complete oddball. His name is Sticks Hexenhammer 666. That
Oh yeah.
doesn't that sound like an oddball? And he is. He's a total oddball. But I tell you what, now at this point, wherever he goes, he brings automatically just huge numbers with him. And he also is like he's anti-alphabet corp. He's always trying to stay ahead of them in terms of like he may be canceling people, but he's not going to be canceled because he's on about 4 different platforms. If
Yeah.
not more. That's the way you got to be nowadays, boy. I tell you what, somebody will randomly cancel you, and it's like, geez, who are you?
Yeah. Yeah. That is for sure. Speaking of getting canceled, I'm going to be on a pod. Good grief! The wind is rattling my window.
The wind.
Bad. The wind. Yeah.
That means a front's moving in probably from the north, so I'll get it later.
Probably.
Is it
Yeah.
rattling towards the north?
I can't tell. I can just hear it. I got my headphones on, so I can't see. I can't. Oh, it's raining.
Oh, it is. Oh,
Yeah, it's raining up here. But anyway, I'm gonna be on a tomorrow. I'm gonna be on I'm gonna get interviewed for I don't know what you call it. It's on YouTube, a YouTube show
oh,
called
like this,
Comics Chat Authority. Yes, like this.
just
But
like
we're,
this,
they're gonna
with more.
they're wanting to talk to a bunch of Source Point press creators.
Sticks is usually going to have a good take. Yeah, yeah. And today, the other guy I follow, the Rageaholic, what's his name besides Rageaholic? He had a really good essay. What I just watched it. What was it about? It was great though. I guess it's probably pushing the war. All the guys pushing the war. Let me see. Was that what it was about though?
They're pushing. They're pro war.
Well, no, they aren't. They typically aren't. This time around, I just heard thunder. My cat will be in panic mode very shortly. He doesn't like that thunder.
Oh
Oops.
yeah, my
I'll find
dog.
that. Don't do that.
Oh yeah, I can hear it thunder, and I got my headphones are noise canceling. I can hear it over the noise canceling headphones. The my dog Peaches didn't mind thunder until one day I was home and our house got struck by lightning.
Oh
Every
man, that's
and every
that's thunder in your lap.
no dude it well I say our house it actually struck the tree in the backyard. I went out there and I found the burn mark. You could see a burn mark all the way down to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
It ran down the tree, and we were sitting in the library there, and I heard it. It was so loud. It was just a loud bang, and then we saw this flash, and it was so bright. I wasn't near a window. I don't know how I even saw the flash because it was in the backyard. Well,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? We don't have a blind on that. We just have I don't know what we have on that. It's kind of a gauzy thing. So that's probably how I saw it. But I mean, it was so bright. It's like, oh my gosh. And
Yeah,
it took out it did a bunch of damage. It probably did a couple $1,000s worth of damage to our stuff.
wow, man.
Yeah, but ever since then, she's been terrified when it starts to thunder. You know,
She has seen
she's
the light.
She's seen the power of thunder, and she does not like it.
Wim gives me a note. Razor Fist. That is correct.
Who's Razor
Fist is the rageaholic. He is also one of these. He's on a dozen different places you can find him. He's on things talking about games. What do they call that group you can get up with on?
Twitch.
Twitch and everything.
Discord.
Yeah, Discord is the main one. Yeah, I call it the main one. What would I know? Was the main one or not? YouTube is still the main one in terms of like people wish they didn't have to worry about stuff like being canceled by them. Yeah, I actually got a flag the other day. Of course, when I looked at it, it's like, oh, go ahead, you can take that off. I had stuck together all these GIFs that I had saved to a file and converted them into video, and just ran them all together with a soundtrack and just called it Cool GIFs. Well, there was enough in there. Someone had decided.
The soundtrack. It's probably soundtrack.
No. It was just generic noise soundtrack. Practically, you know. I mean, one of those things you can get for free from YouTube. But anyway, it was. It apparently might have led to self-harm for young people.
Oh, yeah?
Like, what? But then I looked at it and it had all these, just about, it had all these girly things that I'd apparently right-click saved, where it's like Betty Page and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, maybe I don't want that under my other channel. Not this channel. I've got another channel that's got so many copyright infractions. Just forget about it ever being worth money. And I, forget it. My number one video on that is Peter Ustinov does Charles Lawton impressions, which comes straight off of a Criterion DVD. So it's like, okay, that's my contribution to society, taking somebody else's material.
Ellis is Helen up here. Is your truck in?
Yeah, that's weird that we'd be so close to sound effects. Well, I've got my car in the garage. Now I can, I shouldn't gloat at my neighbors. They got all these big, obnoxious, big trucks that are always rumbling around here. And now every time I hear one of those big rumbles just punching right through the house, I go, yeah, that's costing you some money for gas there.
Hey, and you can even gloat because I'm making more money off of it. So
yeah, that's right. That's true. Just give my friend Scott money. Go ahead.
There you go.
Stay out there and rumble.
All you want just rev that engine up. Do some burnouts.
Yeah.
Oh, I think the hail's quit. Anyway, so
that hail fairly often means tornadoes. That's when you hear hail.
Yeah, we're under a watch. I don't know what, or at least on the news this morning they said we'd be under a watch. Okay, so I finished my Thor versus the Destroyer drawing, and I'm working on this. These people. Do you remember me working on this comic thing?
Oh yeah.
The guy, the Phantom lady, and I forget who the other guy was.
It's coming out great.
Oh, Daredevil.
Yeah. That's looking
good.
They
emailed me the other day, and they're like, "Hey, have you had the opportunity to work on that?" And I said, "Oh yeah, well, I'd worked on it. I got almost done with page 2, and then I got sidetracked on something else, and so I'm back. It's back on my on my desk. I
You're
need to
back on
find.
track. What
I'm
are
back on
that?
track.
Does it sound like you're one of the guys they want?
I don't know. I don't know what their plan is. They just emailed out of the blue, and when I'm not doing anything, I'm pretty easy to convince to draw If you come
Yeah,
up with a story, I'll draw your comic.
yeah, yeah.
I, I don't have to. It doesn't take a lot to convince me to draw because I like drawing
Uh-huh.
and I like drawing comics.
You would
Best of
busy
all,
you would busy yourself with somebody's
I oh,
intellectual property.
absolutely. Well, and what's crazy is I'll reach out to people, and I did that one tryout page for those guys, and I never heard back from them. So I don't know if I'm assuming I didn't get the job, but I never heard back.
Yeah,
That
it
kind of thing
is.
just frustrates the heck out of me.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm
that kind of
crawling under
stuff.
my
They
desk.
do need to always get back with
A
somebody.
follow through would, yeah, just a well, we're sorry we're using somebody else would be phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for I need to find my thumbnails for this.
That's
I
a kind
thumbnailed
of
it in one of my sketchbooks. Anyway,
this is kind of interesting. This I'm using sepia Dr. Martin ink and pretty undiluted, but at the same time it's got a little watercolory look to it that's kind of cool. And by the time that I put an oil glaze over this, it will add some color to it. And I'm going to go a little bit nuts on the oil glazing and try to get a really cool underpainting before I start getting fat with the oils at all. So this is basically the first time I have ever gone to this much trouble to get my underpainting done. To where it just like say, preserve that drawing. Now,
oh yeah,
everything about the oil will be about preserving the drawing for a change instead of letting it go south and saying, "Okay, we're going this way now." Apparently, I'm going to push it where it needs to go to preserve this drawing.
that's cool. That's a cool looking drawing.
Yeah, it was well, and one of the reasons it's cool is because there's a cover. One of the early creepy covers was Frazetta had a guy surrounded by wolf-like creatures, and he was at the very center of a circle of them. That's all I've done is stolen that Frazetta composition. You can never go wrong stealing a Frazetta composition.
Yep, I would agree with that. Sorry, I'm looking for those thumbnails. I think they're in this sketchbook. If they're not, I don't want to.
Oh, you gotta go back to your.
Oh, here we go.
I was telling you about. Oh, go ahead. I'll get back to my movie.
I found my thumbnails.
Oh yeah. Well, now you're ready to go. But you're needing that guide that you'd already put so much work into. Reminded me of that movie I've been emailing you guys about called Hammett, which involves early on. He loses a script he just was about to mail, and then it falls out of his hands in Chinatown. And it's like, so he's got to do the work completely over again, or try to convince the bad guys that, hey, he needs that back, because later on he discovers they've got it. It's like, oh, okay, I need that back. I put a lot of work into that, and then he ultimately ends up typing it or writing it all over again, making it better. That's the deal. If you had to do it over again, you probably would make it better, because whether or not you well, go ahead.
Except I don't have the script anymore.
Oh, yeah. What happened to the script? Wasn't it just a PDF?
You know what? I think I threw it away a few weeks ago.
So you printed it and threw it away. Okay.
Yeah, I printed it and made some annotations on it, and then I think I threw it away.
That's how you pull out the imagery from it. I'm on just about to start disc 7 of 18 of Dune. And,
oh gosh!
And at this
Sorry.
point, What have you?
I
Have you?
tried to watch that
I thought
movie the other day.
that new movie, the
Yeah,
new one or
I
the old
couldn't
one?
take it.
The old one or the
The
new
new
one?
one, yeah,
Oh,
the
okay. You
new
couldn't
one,
take it. It was just a little
the
too
new one.
long-winded for you.
Oh, it was on HBO. Yeah, I just was like,
Huh. Well, at this
yeah.
point, the story is kind of old, isn't it? I mean, that's what I'm struck by listening to it again because it's cool.
I've
Because
never read the book.
okay, that's I thought you had, and I thought you had made a point of saying, no, I guess that's the you made a point of rereading Lord of the Rings not too long ago, right?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
yeah, I knew you'd taken on some
But
big reading project.
I've got a book now I'm reading is 1,000 pages.
I've got one like that I'm not reading quick enough. The complete stories of J.G. Ballard. Guy is so good. I don't know why I'm not tearing through these. I guess it is just because it's short stories. Those kind of bog you down in terms of like your own, wanting to come
Well, they
back.
can.
Yeah,
They can for sure.
but they're always good. He does. He's one of those guys that way back in the 1956, he was playing with expectations on stuff. And it's like, that's unique. 1956, okay, wow, impressive. Um, let's see, we're coming in at 56 minutes. Any big topics?
We're
Anything you've
close.
seen recently that or want to talk
I
about
saw
or want to
Batman.
promote?
I saw
Oh yeah,
Batman.
that's
I
right.
like Batman.
You liked it, and I'll
Batman
tell
was
you what, it's looking to me like it's 4-1 against on terms of people not liking it. They seem to not like it. You know,
which is really strange to me.
what do you liked it because it
Uh,
was a little bit emo-ish or whatever, right? It was
yeah, I
different.
thought. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was a little bit different. I thought so the idea was what I Batman was very much a recluse, and I like that. I like that a lot better than I never thought of Batman as like a playboy.
Mm-hmm.
He's not Tony Stark. He's not. He's different, and they really played that up, and I liked that, and I liked his costume. Sort of. There were things I didn't like about the costume. I thought his
Did
car
it
was
have
pretty
nipple?
cool.
Did it have nipples?
It did not have nipples. I'm
Okay,
sorry, Ellis.
too bad. Oh, dang, missed an
But
opportunity. Go ahead.
exactly. But I liked the car was just awesome.
Oh, the car. Yeah, it looked like a Trans Am or something.
It's it looked like a muscle car, but it had an engine in the back, like a V10 in the back, and shot flame. I mean, it just looked. What I liked about it was just very
Hmm.
muscular, very The whole movie is very muscular, and
Hmm.
even like Batman, he just come across as just kind of just a no nonsense.
I've
Take your,
seen I've seen that one quick flash of an action scene where he's walking down a hall just being nailed by
oh,
people with
machine
automatic
guns.
weapons, and it's like, wow, that's got impact there. That's cool.
Yeah, it's completely black until somebody fires.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Strobing. It's really cool.
Yeah, there's a lot. It's very cinematic like that in a lot of
Hmm.
places. Um, he doesn't. It's fun. It's funny because so this year we've had a James Bond movie where James Bond was mopey,
Uh huh.
and I hated it.
Uh
I
huh. Yeah,
hated
that
it. I
you can't
hated.
do that to James Bond.
It's just that's not James Bond. No, James Bond is no man. James Bond does not mope around.
Hmm.
No. And just the whole mope, just this anguish, and I mean, I've been so soured on the James Bond franchise. Unless they do something spectacular, I'll never see another James Bond movie.
Yeah.
I mean, just
Well,
like,
yeah. Well, yeah, they've got a new guy coming. I guess at some point they got to decide on that what that's going to be, and that's unlikely to make you happy. I mean, it's got a coin toss on whether that'll be any good.
yeah. I mean, who knows? May not
Yeah,
be a guy, maybe a woman, with a
sheesh,
penis, maybe
unlikely.
anything. It could be anything is on the table, and I don't care about that. I
Hmm.
just don't. I feel like the franchise has strayed so far away from the Ian Fleming roots
Hmm.
that I don't care about it, and I
Which,
don't anticipate. I don't. And the only way they could lure me back to the theater at this point, Ellis,
hmm.
would be if they said, you know what, we're gonna roll back the clock and we're gonna do a James Bond movie and it's gonna be set in 1957 and it's gonna have communists and it's gonna have it's gonna have Russians. It's gonna be Cold War. If they did, it didn't have to be 57. It could be, but
62. What are you talking about?
it could be 62. It could be 75. It could be anything up till when did the wall fall? 94,
Yeah.
86, whatever. It could be up until 90. I would
Uh-huh.
say if they do a period piece, then I'm on. Beyond that, I think the franchise has strayed so far away from what the books were. And I mean, and that's fine. Maybe that's what they want. If that's what they want, that's fine. But that's not what I want.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I'm out on that. The But the Batman, we had a bat, and it could have went that same kind of way. But he walked a real fine line. In my mind, it walked a real fine line between just mopey. He wasn't mopey, but he was kind of dark and he was very moody. It
Hmm.
was I would call it like very goth, you know.
Hmm.
I mean, and what's
It
funny
was.
is even before we went in, I told
Was he
it
like?
reminded me of The
Was he like he
Crow.
was in
That's what it
Lighthouse?
reminded me of. Nah. Now I want to watch Lighthouse again. The
Yeah.
the
You spilled your you
no, no, no.
spilled your
You've seen
beans.
yeah.
You recognize that line? You
uh
spilled your
you
beans.
Yeah, yeah. It's been a while since I've seen
Yeah.
Lighthouse. It was on Prime for a while. Still may be.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, you saw The Crow, right?
A long time ago. Yeah.
Oh, did you like The Crow?
I don't remember that making much of an impression on me. It's like, this almost looks like he had a hard time. Well, of course they did have a hard time shooting it, but it just didn't seem like it
Yeah,
was.
the main guy died, dude.
It didn't seem like its competency level on those things that make you not that, that don't distract you, that don't take you out of it. It looked like that's cheesy, whatever. That sort of thing was present in The Crow to me. That's
Oh,
cheesy.
to
That's
me,
cheesy.
to me, it reminded me. This was very. It reminded me of The Crow. Just at a real golf. You know what's funny is I left the theater and I thought, man, I want to see this guy do a movie of The
Oh, there you
Shadow,
go.
because it
Oh,
would be a great
the
shadow.
director seems like quite the talent.
Yeah. Well,
I
he
could
would
go for a
nail the
nice shadow.
mood.
Yeah.
Dude, I love The Shadow.
Yeah,
I
I
g-
like Baldwin's shadow. It's good.
It was
It is.
okay. It wasn't dark enough. I
Well,
mean,
it
it was
had
too.
Russell McKay. He was a very visual guy, and I like it on that count. Oh,
The
the guy.
flying knife thing. No.
Yeah, yeah, that wasn't all
The
that
knife
hot.
that bit him and all that. We didn't
Yeah,
need that.
yeah.
And we didn't there but but yeah, I mean, have you ever read any of the books or the novels, The Shadow
I think
Pulps?
I probably only read one or so. That's another thing. Speaking of sticks, Hexenhammer, no, Razor Fist. Razor Fist is huge on. He's done some interesting essays about how just bring back pulp fiction like the Shadow. He's a huge Shadow fan. And he's always I think
Really?
there's
Okay,
yeah I think there
I'm on
is
board.
some with Rageaholic. Yeah, he's got a couple of good video essays on the Shadow and stuff.
Is this on YouTube? I'll watch it
Yeah,
if they're
I'll
on
send you.
YouTube.
I'll send you a link on.
Yeah,
Or
I'm
just
I'm a
type in Razor Fist, The Shadow. You'll probably be led to it. He's got one
when I
really
was a
good essay.
when I
It
was a
was,
kid, my dad would talk about the radio show, and somewhere I acquired a couple cassettes of the radio show when I was a kid. I'm talking about back in the
mhm,
'70s. And then
yeah.
one day at the drugstore, they had two of the Jove paperbacks,
Uh-huh.
and so I bought those, and I read them and I loved them because I loved how he was, and it's funny because it reminds, and this is me being weird, but it reminded me because he had these agents that would like spy for him, and
Yes,
he'd do
that's the
like
best
dead
part of it. Yeah.
drops, and
Hmm.
oh my gosh, yeah, that's awesome. He's got this network of spies, and what's funny is I'm like that at work, Ellis, because I have all these people that tell me stuff. We
Hmm.
had a we had a situation, and I can't go into detail about it, but there was a situation at work and I was in my boss's office and I knew about it and very few people knew about it. And he said, and I was talking to my boss and I mentioned it and I knew that he knew about it because it involved him. And he said, how did you know about this? And I go, well, I pieced it together and I told him, I said, one person told me this and then somebody saw
Hmm.
this and then I saw something I saw at work and I realized that this was going on and I had about five different pieces of information that I put together and I think he was like whoa
I'm
uh,
impressed.
but I just like that idea of like having even in an office having like a network of spies that may not even realize they're your spies but they're out there
Uh-huh.
and just because they know and people tell you stuff and and that happens all my employees will go, oh well this is happening and I go, oh okay, and they'll go, did you know about that? Well yeah I did. Why don't you tell? I can't tell anybody. I can't divulge anything. Are you kidding?
Around the cooler.
Yeah, just keep your ears open, your ears and eyes open and your mouth shut and you'll be good. I've had, it's funny, I've had, this week has been multiple people have come to me about saying they need you doing this particular job, and I think and it's something I've been promised I was going to get. That
Hmm.
they've told me we want you to do long term. We want you to do this, and several people have been. This situation is very bad. We need you in there fixing this, and so
Hmm.
I had this feeling that within 6 months I'm going to have about three times as many people under me, twice as many people under me,
Oh well.
which is good. That's how you,
Sometimes those jobs get easier when you expand. It's like they'll give you
yes,
a big, like old James Gunn was asked, because he went from these, trauma productions to
yeah,
big, big, big films, and it's like he was asked if that seemed impossible or anything. He says, no, it's a snap. All of a sudden,
yeah,
you're just made out of money. All of a sudden,
right, yeah, exactly. The resources. That's the thing, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a promotion at work back in December, and literally nothing changed for me except for my job title. All of a sudden, I have
Mm.
a different title. But what happened was a lot of people that had kind of not really been giving me grief, but just giving some of my people grief, all of a sudden I outrank them. And so it's like,
Mm.
oh, I don't have to listen to you anymore. You don't have the authority to tell me what to do. You
Yeah,
know?
you can't
And
continue to
you
sabotage
can,
my life.
yeah, exactly. I can now. The opposite is true. The worm is
Mhm.
turned.
Yeah.
But uh, it's funny you mentioned James Gunn. I watched Super last week. Was it last
Oh,
weekend?
did you dig that? Because that's never got a hook
I
in me.
think I got. I think I've had it for. I think I watched it a couple weeks ago. Actually, I think I picked it up last time we were downtown. You and I.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I liked it.
Okay. I need to give
I
it a
mean,
chance because I like the gun energy on storytelling. He's good. I really liked his thing about the weird alien in the barn. What was that called? it was really good. I like that. I think that
I
gave
don't
him
think
the
I've seen.
lead.
I don't think I've seen that, but
Oh,
I
that's
like
a
I
good one.
like the Suicide Squad, and I've liked his Guardians of the Galaxy.
Hmm. I haven't seen
He has kind
Suicide
of a
Squad yet.
weird. Oh yeah, it's pretty good. There's a scene in it that when I saw it, I was like, this is exactly. I mean, literally like a scene. The very end scene. I'm not gonna tell you about it. The library may have it, dude. Uh, the end scene was almost identical to a scene in issue 1 of Heaven's Rejects. And I was just like, oh my gosh, people are gonna think that we ripped this off. I mean, it's a little bit different, but it's the same. The idea is the same. Some
Well,
of
you
the
know,
scales of
there is that zeitgeist effect that goes on. I mean, uh, people
well,
just start throwing out the same
some of what
ideas
the
out
right.
there.
Yeah, that's what Alan Moore says. I think he calls
Hmm.
it idea space. Once somebody
Yeah,
comes up with an idea, it's out there. Once an idea is in the universe, anyone may pick up on it, whether they see somebody else do it or not.
right.
The the writer of Heaven's Rejects, Greg Wright, he writes a lot. His stuff has kind of a satirical. In fact, I told him I didn't understand. I sent him a text. I said I did not understand stuff in our comic until I saw the Suicide Squad, and I
Mhm.
realized what you were going for. Because some of the violence was over the top, and I kind of got that. And there's a lot of profanity. In fact, at one point, I was like, "Are you sure this much profanity is going to be okay?" He's like, "No, trust me, it'll be great." And I'm like, "Okay, now I get what he's going for. This will be great. This will be great." You know.
Hey,
Anyway, hey, dude, we're
spe-
past an hour.
yeah, okay. Well, let me say one last thing. There's there's a link
Sure.
below to my Corbin color essay that's done real well. A lot of people have found it. But there's a controversy that a guy in a comment said that one of my examples, the blood star, is not an example of Corbin's separation technique that I talk about in the essay. And I am almost certain that it has to be an example of that. Because when Corbin does full paintings, they look different. They don't look like what he does with the separation technique. So if anybody can give me a link to an actual photo
A plea.
of that, yeah, it's either you can make me happy. You'd make me wildly happy if you sent one that was gray and white, black and white. But I will accept the idea that I'm wrong and send me a photo of it in full color, a link. Okay, that's
What's
all
the
I wanted to
picture?
say.
What's the picture?
The
Hang,
picture
hang on.
is
Whoa, whoa,
well,
whoa, whoa, wait. What's the?
you've got Bloodstar. The cover is him flying through the
Yeah, I
air
do. That's why.
with a diseased worm creature beneath him. Yeah, and the way that is separated, and plus the most importantly, the way it is rendered. He is so much better when he's rendering just in grays, and then he separates it. When he's
Yeah.
rendering in color, you can tell he's pushing paint around and getting alla prima and actually having to resort to airbrush here and there, and it just becomes a different look. And Bloodstar has none of that. It is that super slick looking thing he achieves with his color separation.
I'm looking for my copy of Bloodstar. I can't find it here. It should be
That's an
right there
awesome
on my
book.
shelf.
I had a copy.
Oh, here it is. Here, wait. Hang on. Let me before we go.
Okay,
Because I got my copy of Bloodstar right here.
let's have a look. Oh, got it in a. Oh yeah,
So
this.
is the
I had the
cover?
hardcover with the dust jacket on it. Yeah, that's it. That's it. I am saying that is not painted. Those colors. That is a tonal gray, black and white, and then he has done all his cool magic with processing it for
Well, it's
CMYK.
funny because that's definitely not painted. I'm right there.
Well,
I
that
mean,
is. I mean, it is tonally
what?
done
Oh,
all the way through it.
so the guy is claiming that your example.
Is
So
wrong that
what?
it
So what do you need to prove him wrong, though?
I need just a link. I don't necessarily. I'm not in the hunt to prove him wrong. I want to know. I want to know that I'm wrong, if I'm wrong, about it being a full color painting. Because to me, I feel like I understand what I'm looking at style wise when I see Corben's stuff that was done using the technique I talk about in the essay. So
Okay.
yeah, I would
Hang on
dig
just
it.
a second.
If anybody send me any link, because I've done the search. I've said, give me, and I've done, give me the original artwork for Bloodstar. Damn you, I don't add damn you, but I've typed it in so many ways that I
Okay, so what
throw
do you think this is?
that looks like probably that was far enough along that he probably may have done it grayscale, but at that point he was probably using Photoshop.
Oh,
Oh, there
right.
we go. Wait a
Wait a
second.
minute.
What
Wait a
is
minute.
that book?
Never win.
Never Win. I want you to somehow
Apparently, it's
pass
a.
on to that essay to me somehow. Scan it or something because it may talk about it. The
Hang
Art of
on, wait.
Rich
I didn't
Corben.
realize this was an art book.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Just
you
now
know what? It's
cracking
got a
your.
story inside.
That's Den.
Yeah. Is it? No, it's.
Neverwhere. Yeah, but
See, I don't.
Den is based kind of like his conceptual continuity of the Neverwhere stuff. His John Carter of Mars. Yeah. Oops.
Yeah. No, yeah, this is Den. But I don't know if this whole book is Den. Looks like it.
Well, it's got that quick little shot of blood scar, and it says the art of Rich Corben. So it's got an essay. It wants
Yeah.
to give me the art of Rich Corben. Maybe it talks about it. So you got to read that for me. Tell me if it's in there. That may have been what the guy was referring to. I need to know the exact wording. If anybody is saying that that is a painting that's color, I need that wording because to me it doesn't look like what I think I know. And you know how that is cognitive dissonance. It'll drive you mad.
Yes. Well, I don't know. But does this image help you any? There's nothing. It didn't say anything about his technique.
Well, no, I mean the what image?
That.
No, I mean
The
that's the color. That's the cover. And unless it
yeah.
says that that was a painting, I won't know. I know that it was painted to the
Yeah.
extent that.
Now hang on. Hang on.
See if you can find anything. You can't do a quick search like you can with the
Hang
internet.
on. I got two more Richard. Nope, I don't operate on a quick search. However, I do have two Richard Corben art books here.
Oh my God, how many have you got?
So
Oh
hang
my
on.
God, you've got
Don't.
that one. I was just looking at that. That's going for $200. That's the book I need, Scott. I need to
Which book?
the one that says art.
They both say art. There's
Oh
two of
my,
them.
you got both of them. My gosh, you got $500 worth of books right there.
Yep.
Well, I need to peruse those at some time or other. I need to glean what it may say about that cover at
Hang
some
on.
point.
Hang on. Hang on. It may be in here.
Just yeah, do a good photo from me for me of any
Hang
essay
on.
about it.
Because this has, and it talks about how they're done.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know.
Well, you need to look at my essay. It's only 7 minutes long.
Yeah, I probably do.
I'll send you a link. Since you,
But a lot of these are acrylic paintings, Ellis.
mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it's acrylic, but it's fairly often it's acrylic in gray and white,
Hang on.
or black and white, gray and white, whatever.
Hey, here's the man himself.
Oh
I've
yeah.
seen one picture of him in two different books, and it's that same picture.
Mm-hmm. See, that's what I'm saying about
Did
being
he have a
semi
crew cut
camera
when you
shy.
met him?
No, he had hair. I met him in the God, it was late '70s, I guess. Well, I got something done anyway. I got all this quick lay-in done here, but I could do a lot more in terms of like this sepia, deciding what I want it to pop, so I can't get too crazy
Oh,
with the
cover for Bat Out of Hell.
there. Yeah, now that's supposedly a painting, and I'll be honest with you, I would. I'm thinking that may have
Oil
been,
painting
but
over acrylic.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is oil painting over acrylic. Yeah. And he could do it. I mean, he could smear and blend and things like that. And Bad Out of Hell does look most like one of his tonal pieces that was right there. Stop on that one. Go back to that sword one.
Yep.
The
This
next
one, the
page.
Indian?
No, the page back.
Hang on. That page.
See that? Well, no, that I
It
can't
says
tell.
that this is an oil painting.
Yeah. Well, that would be what I would think. He was better with his figures when he was just doing the tonal stuff. But anyway, yeah. Oh, those are great books.
Yeah,
Scott.
I don't think. Yeah. Do what?
Those are great books. Like I say, you've got a lot of money right there.
Dude, what's funny is I've had them forever, and they're $15 cover. I bet I paid half that for them.
Jeez.
I've had them forever.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, if somebody came along and offered me $500 for both of them,
Yeah.
they would have a new home. They're in perfect shape too, man.
Well, put them
on
eBay.
My wife has started an eBay store.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thin out your library.
With them for,
yeah,
well, yeah.
I know, and the fact that it's pretty obvious you've never cracked them before. It's like you might as well sell them.
I've read them. I've had them. Well, here's the problem. Here's my problem. I'll go through a phase where I go, man, I had to check out some Richard Corben, and so I'll pull out all this obscure stuff I've bought. And I mean, I had them out probably within the last 6 months. When I was looking at Richard Corben, but Corben didn't really. I mean, I like his art, but he's not really somebody where I'm like, oh my gosh, Richard Corben's the greatest.
Yeah.
You know, he's
no,
not.
And he's the guy that is an acquired taste. Doug, for instance, didn't like him at all. You know, I assume he saw a lot of probably the underground stuff. It's real vulgar, and obviously Corben really got into the nude. You know,
right.
But of course, if you were just look at any superhero comic book, those guys are into nudes. They just
right. They just put a skin tight suit on them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, I would argue that Mobius, his figures are I would call them grotesque.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. So it's funny that you say that, and let me say this, and then I'll let you go.
Okay.
I was talking about that Marvel Comics in the '80s book that I picked up, and one of the things that it refers to some other books that talk about, the I don't know if you call it the progressivism of American culture, of culture in general, or what, but it's this idea that society has changed, and I've argued this with other people before, that we've exchanged this idea of beauty and truth and kind of this classical for more kind of this grotesque celebration of almost ugliness, and you see it all around, and this, I would argue that it's even permeated comic art, and you look at, and I've been looking at a lot of Bronze Age stuff. You look at just like the run-of-the-mill Bronze Age comic, and I was showing you that Spider-Man stuff with the backgrounds and all this stuff, and everything is very well drawn. It's very commercially drawn. It's very house style. It's very well drawn. Man, you look at the comics now, and it's like,
Yeah. That's true. The effort is not there, really.
Well, the effort and the craftsmanship, and there's just I don't know. I mean, I just have a lot of respect for like kind of the old school illustrators, and I'm not talking about like a Norman Rockwell, not like that, not the big names, but I'm talking about people that just did like advertising illustration,
Yeah, oh
that kind
yeah,
of stuff,
oh
or
yeah.
like, you know, yeah, that kind of stuff. Uh, I think is just really cool. And if you look at comics, uh, I think there's a lot of crossover between some of that product illustration and that ad illustration and just kind of advertising art. I'm talking about run of the mill, not necessarily like covers and that sort of thing.
Hmm.
That and then that Bronze Age style, I can kind of see a thread going through there, and
Hmm.
that's all out the window now. I
Yeah,
think. Well, maybe it's not. Maybe what we're seeing now is what advertising art looks like now. I don't
yeah, yeah.
know.
No, that's exactly
That.
right. It is the era of Photoshop has come along, and anybody can slam down. I did it the other day. That really
Well,
kind of cool drawing painting I did of a guy landing in a 3-point pose. That came straight off me tracing over Iron Man landing in that pose. I
well, and
so I didn't do any work on that on creating a figure, other than
well, and
obviously what informed me on my muscles and all that's experience with creating.
right. Well, and I would say the most obvious example in one field that you can point to like this is you look no further than movie posters.
Sure.
I mean, if you look at movie posters have just gone down the toilet.
Yeah.
And now it's all Photoshop because they got to get
Oh yeah, they got to get it
there's
right. They got to get
no
those faces right.
they got to get they got to get the likenesses right, and so there's no room for error. There's no
That Drew
there's nobody like a Drew Straussman, yeah,
Straussman.
and
Okay.
they don't, however you say his name, but I mean even going farther back and he's kind of the big name, but even then there's no. I mean, every movie poster now is just Photoshop. I mean, all the
Okay.
superhero stuff, which you would think would be great for that, is just Photoshop photos together. And most of the time, if you look at them, they're terrible.
Yeah.
Stuff that they don't, there's no attempt to give any kind of, it's just a bunch of Photoshopped heads together. And I can promise you, it's like somebody they found off of Fiverr puts it together, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, yeah. Yeah.
And I would argue
And that
that,
used to be a huge paying gig, was to be the
absolutely.
poster
And
guy.
now it's the flunky whoever, but and
Yeah.
I would argue even that it a lot of this goes back, and I'm not, again, I'm like the old man yelling at clouds, but it goes to computers have, I think, have very, in a lot of ways, really messed up the art field.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, obviously they've opened doors for people, and they've created uh,
Oh, they've got a lot of
opportunities for
tools.
people,
Yeah. Yeah.
a lot of tools. But I also, when I was in school, I was trained to be a commercial artist, and the idea was you would get out and you'd be a guy that got a job like you did,
Hmm.
working at like the phone company, working on phone books,
Right.
doing some spot illustrations. Did you do paste up or just do spot
Oh
illustrations?
yeah. 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 We lived on paste up. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, doing that, and that's the kind of thing that an artist could get some training and get out and get a decent job. And then computers came along and just decimated that
Oh
field.
yeah.
there's
Yeah.
there's no longer a commercial art field.
Right.
But anyway, okay, I've ranted too long, I'm sorry.
Okay. Take it easy.
We're gonna
Thanks.
I'll get
Thanks for digging
I'll
those
get
books out.
no
Go
problem.
ahead.
I'm sorry they didn't help your cause.
No. Well, they might. You got to read them. Okay.
I'll read them.
Okay. Take it easy.
Okay,
Oh, I'm into the
see you, man.
broadcast. Here we go.
Okay, thanks everybody.